There we are. Hello, Melissa Crook here. Welcome to our first Come As You Are panel of 2026 here on the Together We Feel panel show. We kicked off 2026 last week with Feeling Financially Empowered. Really good panel. Really highly recommend you go back and check that out. Had 4 fabulous women with me that really shared a plethora of stories. But today's our first Come As You Are. Come As You Are are probably my favorite because it's just exactly what it says. Come as you are, meeting everybody where they are today, however they're doing. No judgment, no assumptions, no preconceived notions, just fully embracing and accepting and welcoming where we are today and all the complexities of life that come with that. Happy MLK, Martin Luther King Jr. Day here in the U.S., a very important day in our history. A very important day right now in all that's happening in the U.S. I think there's a lot of crossover and complexities. So I'm going to share a few thoughts about that today as I kick off, but I'm also going to share some other things that I think a lot of us can relate to. But I want to welcome Yasna, Kim, and Aaron here with me today. So thankful to have them all joining. We've got Yasna coming here from Serbia. We've got Kim coming from the east coast of Florida. We've got Aaron coming. You're on the west coast of Florida, right? Or are you not? Or you're south. You're like close to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot that. I knew that. So you and Kimmy are probably like only an hour apart right now. Maybe you guys should meet up halfway somewhere at some time. Anyway, my ideas. I'm always trying to get people together. Anyway, and I am in a very foggy Fresno, California. I have learned about my time in Fresno. I've been here for a little over 2 years now. This is my 3rd winter here. And Fresno is located in the Central Valley of California between the Sierra Nevada mountains, which on a sunny day, we can see the snowy Sierras, and it is absolutely magical. People don't talk about that part of the Central Valley enough. They tend to talk about other parts, like how hot it can get in the summertime and blah, blah, blah. I can tell you when the mountains are out, it's spectacular. We are actually closer here to the mountains, to the Sierra Nevadas than Denver is to the Rockies. So if you think of a sunny day in Denver with the mountains is spectacular, you got to come to Fresno on a sunny day. However, we had a few of them last week. But whenever it rains a lot here and then stays cool, and when I say cool, like under 60 degrees, because that's California cold here, a fog, when there's a lot of moisture in the ground, because of big ag land, a fog can set in. It's called the Thule fog. I don't know why they call it the Thule fog. That's what they call it here. I don't know the history behind that, but it can stay foggy for days and weeks at a time, like dense fog. Like we've had several wrecks the last couple of weeks. Several deaths from the wrecks, tragically. It's a historically very well-known thing around here. And the first winter, we didn't really have any at all. And so I was like, what's this fog you're talking about? Last winter was a little more during the fall. This winter has been on steroids, and people have said this is how it used to be. So I don't get snow, but I get this really dense fog, low to the ground fog that doesn't break for days. And it kind of adds to my feel the need to hibernate right now. Kind of like I used to feel when I lived in northern states and we'd get a snowy day or a snowy weekend where you just want to grab your blanket and cuddle up and sit by a fire and drink your coffee and just kind of stay there all day. And I think the thing I've learned, it's been interesting, and it hit me that it's not, people get sick a lot this time of year, obviously. You're indoors more. My husband's been battling something. It's been trying to get me for about a week now, but hasn't gotten me fully yet, but it's just kind of lingering. And I've just like, either just get sick and just kick my butt or go away. But this kind of in-between land that I'm living in. But what I've thought a lot about is, I've thought a few times, I'll just get sick and I'll just go to bed and rest and snuggle in and I won't have to explain myself. And I'm like, why is it that I think that I have to be sick to just go to bed and snuggle in and rest? Why is it that I feel like, because this isn't a new feeling for me in January. This has always been how I felt in January. I kind of start coming out of it mid-February. And people are like, oh, and some people are like, do you think you have like seasonal depression? I'm like, it's not a depression. I don't feel bad. I just want to just snuggle in. I just don't want to do much. I just want to kind of rest and be warm and wrap up in my blankets. But I've always felt like I had to have a reason to do that, and have kind of, I don't know, consciously shamed it. And then earlier this year, thanks to our friend Erin, she introduced me to her friend Barbara Hallen. And Barbara is very well versed in human design. And she's been a guest here on the podcast. She's been on a couple panels. And she's like, can I do it as a just kind of an exchange? How about if we get together and I do a free human design reading for you? I'm like, sure. I'm always curious about knowing more about myself. I mean, I am always wondering how that fits. And it turns out that I'm a projector. And as a projector, this fits right. It explains so much. I am not designed to be your 9-to-5 girly. I'm very much, I have times of the year and days where I'm very energized and very focused and can get a lot done and want to. And there's times where I need to pull back and rest. And even when I was working in the 9-to-5 world, I was always trying to find a way around it. Like, I'd work at a place for a while, get to the point where they really liked me because I was an excellent employee, because I'm a recovering codependent and people pleaser. So I was a fantastic employee. So they always loved me for the most part. One job exception in there, but otherwise. And then when I got to that point, I'd start asking for, well, do you think I could work from home a couple of days a week? I think I could get home more done from there. And then during COVID, I thrived when I worked from home for 15 months. Like, I thrived. And the funny thing about this is I'm an extrovert by nature, like truly an extrovert. So I value time with people. But I also, when it comes to my work, I don't like or don't feel like I thrive well in a traditional environment. So this explains so much of that to me, which I think has allowed me to lean into, this is what I was designed for. I was designed to kind of chill a little more in the wintertime and rest a little more and gather my energy, because come spring, I tend to be very energized. Spring and summer, I'm very energized. And then fall, I feel myself kind of sinking back in again. And I'm 56, and it just is like, you can still learn about how you operate, but moving out of this kind of traditional cultural narrative of what's wrong with you. Are you lazy? Why aren't you working? Why aren't you being productive? And it's like, that's not what productivity looks like for me. And this idea that maybe I just need to honor my body and let it do what she's been trying to tell me my entire life. She is wanting to do this time of year. So maybe you only have 2 to 3 hours of work a day right now, because when it comes spring, you're going to have energy to go much longer. And just listening to the rhythms of my body and honoring that, and being okay with the fact that it doesn't fit into a societal norm and I don't have to over explain it. So that's been a big thought for me. And then a second thing that has been really interesting this week is I've been always try to, on Martin Luther King Jr. week and the week leading up to it, try to learn something new, try to realize, something I haven't heard before. Well, the learning kind of happened for me because a major player in the civil rights movement, Claudette Colvin, passed away last week. And she was actually the first Black woman to refuse to give up her seat on a bus in Alabama at the ripe old age of 15 years old. 15. This woman had the strength. This girl, she was 15. She was a teenager. Had the strength and the audacity and the ability and the inner just wisdom to know that this was the thing that she was going to do. And there's a quote of her saying she felt Sojourner Truth on one shoulder and Harriet Tubman on the other shoulder, holding her down and giving her the courage to say, no, I'm not giving you my seat. So a lot was discussed about her last week as she passed. And it wasn't until just recently, just a few years ago, that they finally expunged her record. And so she was no longer on record as being a criminal because she was arrested that time and several other times for her civil rights activities. And one of her goals before she passed, for the sake of her grandchildren, she wanted them to remember her as someone whose record had been expunged. She no longer had a criminal record. So some really, really major stories. So then I got curious. I'm like, why do we hear about Rosa Parks so much? Most people would assume Rosa Parks was the first woman to do this. And so I did a little digging on that. And this is what I learned. I think it's so fascinating going back to societal expectations and how we stage things. Rosa Parks is more famous than Claudette Colvin because civil rights leaders strategically chose Parks as the face of the Montgomery bus boycott due to her respectable image as a calm, adult, middle-class NAACP secretary, while Colvin, a 15-year-old, darker-skinned, and poor teenager, was considered a less ideal symbol for the movement, despite her crucial role as a plaintiff in the case that desegregated buses. Parks' established community standing made her a more relatable, although I question that, and trustworthy icon to rally behind, whereas Colvin's youth and circumstances made leaders fear she'd be dismissed as a troublemaker. I thought that was so fascinating and speaks so much into the cultural narratives that feed all of these assumptions we make about people, and why I'm so passionate about us coming together like we do on these panels, telling stories of a variety of women from a variety of circumstances and backgrounds so that we can learn to listen and not judge and be curious so that we know how to effectively come together for each other. But I thought that was fascinating. So that was one of the new things I learned. And then the other thing was, it was actually a segment I saw yesterday morning about Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And it talked about his civil rights attorney, Fred Gray, who at 26 years old went into court the first time to start fighting for these new changes in civil rights to be put at 26. So we got a 15-year-old and a 26-year-old moving the way and changing the way we operate and live, and laws are placed here in the U.S. So also a reminder, you are never too, age is just a number. You are never too young to make a difference. So that's what I come in today. And that was a lot of talking from me. I don't usually talk this much at the beginning of a panel, but I felt like those were really both important things to share today. So I'm going to now turn it over to Erin. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic today. I'm cold.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm Florida cold at my 50 degree Florida cold. So I'm Erin Copeland. I am your caregiver support specialist and author of Welcome to Caregiving, the things caregivers never talk about. And Melissa, you gave so much to talk about today.
I know.
Already. But the first thing I have to talk about is the fog, because I love fog. And I actually missed that about living in California. I grew up
you snapped. Yeah.
And so we always had fog. And I don't get that in Florida, where it is just flat, like man-made flatness. And so every time there is, like last week, I think we did have a little fog advisory. So the clouds are kind of on us. It's fog. And I was so excited. So I actually didn't know you had a fog season like you do, and it has a special name. And so I find that really fascinating. And there's a part of me that thinks I should have been a meteorologist, because I also didn't know how fascinated I would be with hurricanes until I lived here. And so every hurricane season, just watching, where the low pressure and the high pressure and the temperature of the water, and it's going to make a hurricane, it's going to turn fast, and it's going to slow down, it's going to stall here, it's going to, it fascinates me. I could watch the Weather Channel all day long. So.
You and my husband would be best friends. He wants to be, in his other life, he wants to be a tornado chaser.
So I'm a little afraid of that.
He took classes when he was working at Texas Tech. His little side hustle was he took classes about the weather, about science, and he was actually thinking about getting a master's in it because he's got just because he was so fascinated with it. And so that's so interesting. Yeah. You're in the right place for hurricanes.
Right. I mean, I like to be inside. I like just them on the news. I don't like to live through that. So
yeah. Clarify.
And then with that seasonal fog, and it's no wonder you want to stay inside, and it's cold. And all that kept coming to me, because I'm the same. It's January, and I don't want to be doing. I don't want to be doing. And my brain always likes to think that winter starts in October, but it is not. Like, my brain skips over fall. And we are in the middle of winter. I mean, winter solstice is what, December 22nd?
Yeah.
In the middle of hibernation season for like all of nature. And so I have really, I think, yet to meet a person that is excitedly, intuitively active at this time of year.
Yeah, that's a good
point. So we get into that, new year, new you stuff, join the gym and everything, but that I feel like is societal pressure. And it's not an instinct. And anybody I know who is, I feel like, super, super intuitive is not like, God, let's go. January, and it's cold, let's go.
Yeah.
So I've also been trying to honor that in myself for several years now. It's like my newsletter. I put out my Happy New Year newsletter in April at spring solstice. And that's like the cycle that I follow. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to bloom. I'm ready to be here. And this is when I'm going to be here for you. Don't talk to me in the winter time.
Yeah.
For all of December for my newsletter, I did like a greatest hits newsletter. And I didn't even create that. I just was feeling so quiet. So I'm really right there with you on that.
Yeah.
And since you mentioned the human designs, it's one of the reasons that we talked about this a little bit. I love working with projectors. There is something about y'all that, so I am a 4/6 generator. And I also did classes and everything with Barbara and readings, and she's so fantastic. So anybody listening, if maybe we can drop her stuff in the notes.
Yeah.
She does like a 30-minute reading, and she voice records it for you. So she reviews your whole chart and then records it for you, so you can go back and listen to it. And like, she gets excited reading your chart, and so you get to like feed off of this energy. And she's also a projector.
Yeah, she is.
So it's really fantastic. So when you give her that invitation, she responds beautifully to it. But I go around with all of this energy because I'm a generator. And so I give energy off to other people, and I get energy from people. So I have to be around people, which also in hibernation season, like, isn't like.
I know. I hear you. I know.
And I think, oh my gosh, my last response to your current events update was, I wrote the word audacity too, when you're talking about the 15-year-old on the bus, because only a 15-year-old I feel like would have the audacity to be like, no. I don't think a 50-year-old woman maybe could, because we've been beaten down by society.
Yeah,
I just have my seat. And so, and the only other note that I made about that really was, there's so much marketing and everything. It all comes down to marketing and who is going to be the most palatable, acceptable, and draw the most appropriate attention and all of those things. And it's everywhere in our lives. It's everywhere. And I think it would serve us well just to remember that when they're put in front of us, like who's putting it there and why it's there and what message it's ultimately serving.
Yeah.
And so those are my commenty things. I don't know what I'm still going through learning new things. I'm working through my grandfather's estate and working with an attorney, like to do a summary administration. Like, I don't even know what that is. I'm trying to tell my cousins, I'm like, we're doing a summary administration. I don't know what it is, but this is what we're doing.
Wow.
So they're like, we don't know either. So go for there. And so it's so much learning. And yeah, we never stop learning. I don't care what the topic is.
Yeah.
We're always learning something new.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Jasna, how are you today? And Serbia is actually legitimately cold, not that was a judgy word. I don't want to delegitimize Aaron and Kim's experience, but what the broader spectrum of the world would consider winter cold.
Snow, ice, wind, very cold wind. So whatever you wear, it's still cold.
Yeah, not enough layers.
Yes, and my task every day is to walk 5 kilometers. Is that 2 and something miles, something like that?
Yeah.
And then I am disciplined. I don't want to miss it, so I did walk, but I was freezing. And my hibernation season is also with me. It starts from November, December, when the day is too short. It's hard for me because my day is cut into pieces, and each piece of the day has different priority. And there are many things that I normally, during summer, I do many things before 9 a.m. when I go to work. And I wake up at dawn, whenever dawn is, but during winter, it's too late. I don't have time to do anything before work. Yeah. And when I finish work, it's already dark. So, so in my head, I have enough time to do many, many things, not only work. November, December, and January, I have time for nothing. I just comfort myself. I say to myself, okay, it will pass. New Year is gone. So now it will be better and better. And I booked my skiing, first 7 days of skiing. So I am happy for that.
Yeah.
And I work a lot. My contract with my client is ending in my IT part of life.
Yeah.
So now I push hard, because if it really ends, they will tell me in the following few days if it's final decision or if I'm really going, or maybe staying for a few months more. But in case I'm going, I want to really clean up as many tickets as I can, because they were fair to me. So I also want to be fair.
Yeah.
But it's exhausting. I don't have energy. So this is me today. And I was learning too. I had in December and January, I had 3 weeks of furlough. Melissa knows already our Orthodox Christian holidays are later than yours. So
I learned something. Christmas doesn't happen until the 7th of January.
Yes, our Christmas is on 7th of January. So when it is your holiday season, for us, it is really quiet, which helps me in my hibernating winter state, because for me, it is working days, but I don't really have much to do, because I'm serving people who are mostly Protestants or Catholics. So they have holiday season as you do. But this time, because of the cutting cost, I had to go to this furlough 3 weeks. So I used that for some courses, some writing courses, some AI courses, AI for building mobile application with no coding, AI in picture generation. So it was really interesting. I can't say I'm some kind of expert, of course. I should learn a lot more regarding prompts and really try to use that more to gain some proficiency, which I'm not sure is even my goal. But it was interesting to kind of just have some overview of what else exists today, because it's kind of very different than I was imagining.
Yeah.
So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's funny. I have to say, I told my husband, I'm like, listen, I spoke with a woman today in the Eastern Orthodox tradition. Christmas doesn't happen until January 7th. So I don't have to take the tree down yet. And he's like, oh, geez. We've
And
needed
we have
it.
different tree, you know. For 1st of January, we bring tree like you do, like a pine
Yeah.
tree. But for
Yeah.
our Christmas, we use oak tree and we burn it.
Oh, wow.
In
that's
front
so
of the churches. In front of every church, you have a big fire, and then people come and throw the oak tree. So it's a big fire for several hours.
wow. See, I'm learning new things all the time. I don't know if I'll get him talked into an oak tree. That might be a bridge too far.
And if it burns well, the year will be good. Actually,
Okay.
Serbs transferred a lot of these old customs that we had even before Christianity.
Okay.
We had these pagan customs, and when we took Christianity, many of our customs are still there, only in different. We interpret them differently. That involves Christianity, but somehow we are still burning something, and we bake some breads. And I baked 2 breads for my Christmas, one for my own house, one for my sister's house for the family lunch. And you put the coin inside, then you break the bread. Whoever gets the coin will have luck during the next year.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yes. But it's a lot of work for the lady who is doing.
That is something I think we all have in common with those traditions. I read a thing,
but it was fun.
Yeah, it sounds like it. There's somewhere. Oh, it's in Ireland. Ireland does a day. I want to say it's the 6th of January. It might even be the 7th, the same day as your Orthodox Christmas, where it's a holiday for the women to rest and gather after the holidays. It's like, and it's there's a name for it. I'm like, good for my husband's Irish, so we know a lot more about Irish traditions. But yeah, they have a whole holiday there. It's just, they go out with their friends, they do a little getaway, they whatever, but it's for them to rest after the holidays.
The Serbs don't have such holidays.
We don't either. The U.S. doesn't either. The Irish are the only ones that have figured that one out. But maybe we should spread it around. Okay. Wow. I feel like this is. That's why I love Come As You Are. We learn so much. All right, Kim. We left you with a lot to think about.
A lot to think about. And I was just sitting here as you guys talk about your hibernating season. I explained so much about the way I'm feeling right now because I live in the Midwest and it's cold. Winter came early this year, like in November, and I made it all the way through Christmas. And then we leave and travel south in the end of the year. And I should be hibernating, but I've come to this place now where it's not winter for me. Yeah. It's warm. And we just bought a new home. We typically have been renting and we bought a second home. And so I'm settling in. So even though my body wants to be resting, I'm not, and take on that time changes. So I live in Central Time almost all year. And then I come to Eastern Time. And what I've learned is my body likes this time better. I naturally am waking up at 5:15, 5:30 without an alarm. And I'm refreshed. Whereas at home, I set my alarm for 5:30 and I'm tired and sluggy when I first wake up. So I feel like my natural rhythm is lives in East Coast time. But I'm just in a funk. I don't know if I'm supposed to be resting, hibernating, unpacking, boxing, living. Who knows what I'm supposed to be doing? So this explains so much to me why I'm just in a funk. I can't think, I can't create. I can work because people pay me to work, but so I feel like I have to. But now I'm so clear. Thanks, ladies. I just am honoring my season.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's so interesting, and it gives me clarity too, because I think it goes back to this listening to our bodies, honoring what they need, and measuring. And if we're not doing that, like getting like, why, it's because of my job, it goes back to just other ideas that these society cultural narratives, especially existing in a traditional, where we are here in the US, a traditional capitalist society where it's very much work 40 hours minimum. A lot of people work more. 60 to 80 is not unheard of, as unhealthy as that sounds. And how we feel out of sync and out of alignment. And then we have all these shame and narratives around it, rather than, these aren't designed for our natural rhythms.
Right.
They just aren't designed for our natural rhythms. And what would it look like to live in a world where we could, or where we just decide to be like, you know what? No more shame about this. This is me honoring my body. And I know well enough now when she comes back to more energetic pose. But I also know if I don't honor and winter, that they collided at this wintering season, and it's okay. And there's nothing wrong with me. And I don't have to be sick to go to bed and cuddle up and watch a movie or read a book or take a nap or just be cozy and warm with my candle. Like, I've got candles burning all over the house. Brady's like, oh my God, you're going to burn the house down. And I'm like, I'm not going to burn the house down. It's not the Gilded Age where everything's like run by candles, which I was watching, which I still crack up at the fact that they put candles in trees. I'm like, somebody didn't think that through. But like a whole generation.
They were trying to burn the oaks. That's the whole thing.
They were. That's right. That's right. It goes back to what you guys said. Exactly. See, that was inherent too. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's important that it's such a good reminder. So I think it's just all four of us having this feeling in this different parts of the world we live in, and having this idea of it is like, maybe we need to start paying attention to that. All right. Going back to Erin, any questions for anybody or anything you've heard?
Oh my goodness. So Kim, the time zone thing kind of blew my mind. And from being in a colder, darker place to being in a warmer, brighter place, and it confusing your system, or even if it gave you some more invigoration, I find that fascinating. That just kind of blew my mind. And I guess that's why people snowbird.
Yeah.
Really, ultimately, because they feel ick in the cold, dark, and feel better in the warm, light, moisture, not as dry, like all of the things. And so it was like this whole different spin for me on that hibernation thing, that somebody could actually come down here and not feel as hibernate-y.
Yeah.
Well, migrating. I mean, we really are just traveling towards the light, right?
It's like birds.
Yeah. So it was just this little aha moment. And yes, and I just loved hearing about the different traditions that you have. And I just love that about different cultures, and hearing about it and the little things, like, because we all have something that I think represents luck to us for a new year. And so anything that anybody does that has that kind of message, I just love hearing about it. And the oak trees, I lived in Texas for 5 years, and there's oaks everywhere. And so I was just like, oh, I wish they had done it. There's oaks in churches. There's a lot of those in Texas. And so I just had this image too of a place that I was familiar with. And if they had done that, like, how amazing to have the fires burning for as many days as they can burn. Do they burn for days?
No, we
No?
burned them in front of the church. We burned them on 6th of January, the night before Christmas.
Okay.
And the first boy, it should be a young boy, and you should appoint him ahead so that each house has his boy, we call it kolozhainik. And then the first person who comes into your house on Christmas should be him. And then he would you already have a branch of oak tree from the day before. You enter it in your house. It happens with a lot of different traditional, you're singing to the tree, throwing nuts and coins around it and things like that. And children are looking for nuts across the house. And then tomorrow, when it's Christmas, this special boy, Polozhainik, he comes into the house, he takes this branch of the oak tree, and then if there is a wooden stove in the house, he should burn it there. But in our conditions, of course, we don't have such stoves anymore, but then you use the sink. You burn it in the sink and sing to it the whole poem. In Serbian tradition, we have a lot of different poems, and of course, we have one for Christmas, and it says, "As many sparkles, you will have that many children and happiness and money and health and everything."
So many meanings. I love it.
And then we have a meal, of course, and then we have a meal for 3 days with friends and everyone else.
Wow. And then you roll out the door at the end of the 3 days because you can't.
And then I'm even more exhausted than I was, but I'm happy to spend time with family and everything.
Talk about tryptophan. Holy cow. You really do need a nap after that. You do need to hibernate after that.
And Melissa, thank you for sharing about the Irish tradition, because I'm not quite I guess I'm at least a solid quarter Irish, and I did not know about this tradition. And so I am going to investigate it and add it to my calendar and tell my family that it's a new tradition.
I know. I told my girls, I'm like, listen, because my husband's half, well, a little more than half, because my father-in-law had a little bit too. My girls are a little more than a quarter. And like this full on, you get to now. We are everybody. My husband cooks the turkey in our family, so he's like, "Do I get to be part of it?" I'm like, "You cook a turkey one time a year." I don't know. I mean, maybe, but I think with all the side dishes and grocery shopping and planning, it's still probably going to go to the girls. But yeah, but thank you. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, but I love the gathering piece. The fact that you gather for 3 days together and feast and enjoy. I think that's a beautiful thing.
Of course.
Wow.
And I think my final thought, just kind of on the hibernation and feelings of things, because I went through I guess it was end of December, maybe even beginning of January, where I also had those thoughts of if I was sick or in the hospital or something, like it was that dark, I wouldn't have to do anything.
Yeah. I know.
And I was like, okay. I mean, I at least had enough awareness still and enough presence to be like, okay, you need to take a rest because that's not a healthy thought. And you can slow down now and it's okay. And I have found that those periods of time, if I maintain the awareness and the presence and then take the time, they're very short-lived.
Yeah.
And so it might be 1 or 2 days that I allow myself to cocoon and just watch TV and whatever. And then in the rest, the curiosity comes back, the creativity comes back, a desire to move my body comes back. And so it doesn't last for the entire winter season. Yeah. But I might have more of those instances where I'm like, okay, I need to be quiet today.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm lit up with creativity and then I'm in flow again. And so just learning to trust that those quiet times or darker times, if they're honored, are short-lived. And if I fight them, they are prolonged because I'm resisting and I'm in resistance. So that's my final takeaway.
Oh, that's really good. All right, Yasna, any questions or comments on anything you've heard from anyone?
blanket time. I have my blanket time. It is in the afternoon after working hours. After work, I do different things like this. Sometimes I socialize, sometimes I walk, sometimes I do different things. But if I have nothing else to do, this is my blanket time every day, especially during winter, because on summer sometimes I would go to the beach or whatever. Yeah, because I have more energy and I feel like it. I don't feel like the blanket so much. But now I really have it almost daily. And it means a lot to me. I really need it. I don't feel like doing anything else in the afternoon. I'm already tired from the working day. And the skiing means a lot to me during winter because winter is long.
Yeah.
There is several months when the day is short and it's so cold and you feel like that. And when you go to skiing, especially if you have some luck, so you have some sunny days there, it's really different because it's like winter is not one whole piece anymore. It's cut into before skiing and after skiing and between two skiings.
Yeah.
And skiing time is happiness, snow, sport, fun, people. It feels, it is still winter, of course, and it's cold, but it doesn't feel that way. Yeah. On a sunny day on the mountain, it feels you're very, very energized.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm so happy that I will ski. I don't know, do you ski, ladies?
I don't ski. I've learned how to ski. Most people I know ski. Like I'm surrounded by people in my life that ski. I grew up in the Northwest and we have a lot of mountains and skiing. So I've skied once. My family was more of the sledding, toboggan, snowmobiling family. But I love the ski resort that's an hour away from us. They also have a sledding like inner tube hill. So you can go up there in the wintertime with your kids. If you don't ski, and inner tube. That was my favorite thing to do as a kid. I loved getting out. I loved a sledding day. And even when my kids were little, when we lived in Spokane, Washington, where we got a lot of snow in the wintertime, we usually had white Christmases. I haven't had as many lately, but usually more times than not, we had a white Christmas. And so when the kids were off, we had sledding hills close to us and we'd go and just sled all day. And it was so fun. So don't have the skiing, but the sledding and inner tubing was a big part. Being out in the snow in that way. We loved those days.
Yes, I think it helps a lot to go through the winter because this is what you remember and this is when you get some of this energy. Although it's winter, but it helps too.
It does. It helps. I
survive till spring.
And it's good exercise too. It's a great way to move your body. But then you come home and you get your cup of hot cocoa and you snuggle, get warm and snuggle in. I mean, it's the best of both worlds. I can relate to that very much in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. All right. And Kim, how about you? Any thoughts, questions?
No, I was just thinking though how my new choice of job with working with authors and things is helping me with this hibernation. I'm actually, and it's related. I'm helping launch a book right now. It's a beautiful historical fiction book entitled "Rainbow Over the Bayou: Jim Crow Through the Eyes of a White Girl." And this wonderful woman, she's in her, I think she just turned 70 and she's releasing her very first book. And it is, I suppose, autobiographical fiction as well, but about growing up with a Black nanny and how much she loved this woman and how she became her second mother. But she's taught me so much about the civil rights movement and the things that as a Northern American, I didn't know. She had to tell me what Jim Crow was, and I know that sounds terrible, but they just weren't things that we talked about, and where I grew up, and so, but this book is gloriously thick and full of details, and so 600 pages of snuggling up in the middle of winter because it's my job. So. It's just, it's been wonderful. And and I love the whole idea of breaking up winter with, the skiing is wonderful. That's what snowbirding has done for me. It takes the cold and the dark, and then the holidays come, and then it comes south, and then we'll leave just as spring is blooming. So spring or early summer will be here in Florida, and as we move north, things are budding and turning green all the way. And then when I arrive home, it'll be gray, but only for about a week, and then it'll bud and bloom again. And yeah, it's just a good seasonal break from things by either skiing or taking a trip or snowbirding or whatever. I like the idea of breaking up the gloom.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. I think that's a great, So I think the kind of my final thought today is honor and listen to your body the best you can. I know it can be tricky if you're working a 9 to 5 out there. There's things you got to do within that, but how can you still honor that within that with your time in the morning, with your time in the evening, on the weekends? What are some ways you can still honor this? And it can be tricky when you're in the thick of it with your kids and they're busy on weekends. And I remember when my kids were in the thick of it and we had tournaments and things every weekend and I just wanted to stay home. But I was always fine when I got there. But I would also, there were times where I would just pray for a snow day. I'm like, maybe we'll get a snow day today and things. I remember loving. And where I lived, it took a lot to have a snow day because you didn't have many, or you'd have snow days all the time. People knew how to move around in the snow. So it would take a lot to have one, but occasionally we'd have a snow day and I would be like, yay, we have to stay home. We have to go sledding. We have to make hot cocoa and watch movies because that's all we can do today. And so, but how can you honor yourself still in these ways and the way you're feeling? And if it's tricky, if you're just in a busy season, then don't beat yourself up for it. And do find those times to snuggle with your blanket and shut things down. And even if you can grab it for an hour on a weekend or something. But I think I don't wait till you're 56 to realize, wait a minute, this is just the flow of my body. And if you're past 56, it's okay to, however age you are, honor that, honor that within you and how can you shape your life in a way that isn't like, oh, I'm being so unproductive, taking this idea off of that we've got to be productive all the time, when the reality is you can't be productive all the time. You have to rest, or there's no energy for the productivity, or the productivity is not as aligned and on cue and on point as it could be if you came at it from a rested, fresh perspective. And then take some time to learn about some new traditions. I mean, we've all learned about some new traditions today. We've learned about some things in history we didn't know. So maybe this is a learning time for you too, and stay curious about the way other people live. And this is another reason I'm so thankful. I'm going to give you each chance for one last thought. Yasna, one last thought for our listeners today.
Have fun during winter too, if you can.
Yeah.
If you don't already have some ways to do that, then figure some. And don't forget your blanket. It's important.
Yes, it's key. Okay. Kim, how about you?
I love the thinking about things in a different way. So I'm going to find a blanket. I'm going to have blanket time, even though I am down south and my rhythms feel off. Maybe I can get back on track. So I love that.
Yeah. Erin, how about you?
I'm jumping on the blanket bandwagon. Like my cat and I go outside. She likes to go outside with me. Like she will go outside and she will stand at the door and meow for me and wait for me to come out. And we sit on my chaise lounge together and I pet her until she doesn't want me to pet her anymore. And we call that our happy hour. And I'm going to bring a blanket.
I love that. All right. Okay. Ladies, thanks so much for being with me today. Thanks so much for sharing where you are, for coming as you are today. Listeners, I hope you've something about this has hit for you, and take some time, like I said, to honor yourselves, to learn some new things, and grab your blanket. It's okay. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. Enjoy that blanket. Thank you for that wisdom, Yasmin. So much. We learned so much from you today. Oh my goodness. All right. Take good care of yourselves this week. We'll be back next week. And Kim doesn't know this yet because I haven't gotten ahead on my panels, but I'm wanting to do a Wells and Betters panel next week. And this is inspired by Kimmy in her journal that right here. It's the owner's manual. Y'all can get it. It's one of my favorite prized possessions. And I want to talk about the Wells and Betters next week. And I want to talk about how they can lead us to continue to learn and grow, allow us to pause and celebrate our wins, and then think about, all right, this is, well, what could be better, what could be healthier, what could be more aligned. I think it's just a great trail of thought. So if Kim's available next Monday, we'll talk about, and I've got some other people on the list too to invite as well. But you, of course, are the lead because you came up with it. So hopefully that's what we're talking about next.
I love that. I love it. I love it.
On the panel. But thank you so much, all of you, for being with us here today on Together We Feel. Take good care of yourselves and have a great week.
Bye.
Thank you, Melissa. Bye.